Welcome back, everybody, to the Furniture Academy podcast, which is what you are listening to right now, the most entertaining place for anything related to furniture, interior design, and home decor. The podcast is brought to you by Lazy Boy Southeast. We believe in passionately creating customers for life, one exceptional experience at a time. With 8 Lazy Boy home furnishings and decor locations in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Check our links in the description to find more or go to thefurnitureacademy.com. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about what is the most durable furniture fabric and what causes it to deteriorate. We're going to talk about the different qualities between canvas, microfiber, cotton, and linen. So stay tuned. All right, and welcome back to the Furniture Academy podcast. This is the second episode of the second season, and I'm here with Catherine Sipes.
Hello.
Catherine, say hi. Catherine Sipes is an interior designer for Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Which store are you in?
I am in the Charlotte store by North Lake Mall.
Great. And I brought Catherine here today because we are talking about the most durable fabrics that you can get on furniture. And she is, what was your degree in? Go ahead and talk about your degree a little bit.
I graduated from North Carolina State, and I got a degree in art and design, but I specialized in fashion and fiber studies. So I did everything from weaving wool into thread to tapestries to knowing everything there is to do about individual fibers and how they weave together to create everything from blankets to furniture upholstery to clothes and everything like that.
So she is probably the most qualified person that I know personally to talk about different fibers and what is durable and what isn't durable. So let's talk a little bit about your job here at Lazy Boy. Last week we had Sam. I know you're familiar with Sam.
Yes, love Sam.
Yeah. So go ahead and tell me what do you got going on here at Lazy Boy, recently? You got any new stories or any cool designs that you've done lately, or? Because I know I called you yesterday. You were in a customer's home when I called you yesterday.
Yes, I was. We actually went to 2 homes because this lady, her and her husband are downsizing from this huge house at the Point in Lake Norman, and they decided to downsize. And so, but she has a ton of artwork that she loves, and those beautiful, intricate oil paintings, and she wanted to incorporate them into her new space along with a couple other treasured pieces that she has. So we went out to there first to check out, if I could take pictures and see her style and see what pieces she wanted to incorporate and enjoy the paintings. And so then we went to her new place to help her see that she can still incorporate some of the things that she loves in her new design. And that way we can kind of pull in some of the pictures and the colors in the pictures with her fabrics and everything to kind of tie it all together. So working on that right now, and I'm looking forward to her coming back in for the presentation to kind of finish up what we started.
Great. So was it a big decrease? Because you said she went from a big home to a...
Yes.
She's down, so it's a big decrease.
It was about 46,000 square feet.
Wow.
To about no more than 1,500.
That's a huge difference. 46,000?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh wait, 4,600.
46. That's what I thought. That's why I had to ask. 46,000.
46,000 would be kind of very large.
That is very large.
Okay, yes. No, 4,600.
That's
yes, a big
still
difference.
A challenge. 4,600 to 1,500.
It is, especially when she has tons of things. They've traveled all over the world. It's actually interesting. Her husband just retired. He was in textiles for, I think he said 50 years or something. Mm-hmm. He did textiles, mostly cushion type things, but he was very into all this stuff, and it was nice to see. You don't usually get too many husbands coming in saying, "Oh, I really like this fabric, and I see the way this is woven," and I'm
he knew a little bit about your job.
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's
that
nice."
Kind of helps things. That helps things a little bit.
It does. It makes it more fun.
Does that happen often that you have to downsize? Because that's got to be a challenging thing to be able to, because people want to keep their things. Some things come, handed down through the family. Like you said, they traveled, so they picked up a lot of stuff through travels. It's memories that you have to get rid of. So that happen very often?
I've personally dealt with downsizing recently. Well, my family went from a large, like 4-bedroom home to a 2-bedroom apartment. And so my my grandfather was in the Army and they traveled a bunch, so she had a ton of little knickknacks and stuff like that she really wanted to keep. And so we tried to find ways to incorporate that into her new place. And myself, I went from a 2-bedroom apartment to a studio, so I got 580 square feet to work with. And so it's difficult, and we get that a lot here in this area. There's a lot of people
that you're in the city.
A lot of people, their kids, go to college and then they graduate, they got their own lives. Now these parents are like, what do I do with a 6-bedroom house?
Right,
that I live in one corner of it, which is the way it was with my family. So they're all downsizing. However, no one wants to get rid of all their things.
No, not at all. I collect a lot of stuff, and I'm afraid because I'm moving out in like September.
Oh, yeah?
And I've been in the same house for the last 5 years, so I just accumulated stuff over time.
It's scary, especially if you've lived somewhere for, these people had lived in this house for, I don't even know, 30 years.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that. I mean, all the stuff that would just, that's been sitting there for 10 years,
right? Literally hasn't moved in 10 years.
I mean, that's a fifth grader. That's
and you could see her getting kind of choked up when she was walking around the house. Because
they're memories,
But so that's why I really love to enjoy incorporating people's pieces into their new designs, because it makes them feel like even though they're moving, it's still their home.
Yeah.
And so
there's a little bit of comfort there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not all bad.
Let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to talk about, which is fiber, right?
Yes.
Or durable fabric, I guess I should say. So we're going to talk about what causes it to deteriorate. So from my knowledge, it's from over time using it, sitting down, getting up. Just the interwoven fabrics will kind of loosen up, because what makes it comfortable to sit in is that it's tight, right? That it's. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, the woven structure of it, depending, can make it doesn't. Well, the tightness of the weave doesn't necessarily have to do with how soft it is.
Okay.
That's actually a misconception.
Okay, so that was wrong. That's why I brought you.
It has to do with the actual material that the fibers are made out of. Some fibers have to be woven more tightly than others just to stay together. Not necessarily because it's stronger or softer or something like that. It just depends. But here at Lazy Boy, we get tons. I think every single person that walks in the store is like, I need the most durable fabric you have. I'm like,
I mean, it would be. Okay. I feel like it'd be a common question. I come from a big family.
Yeah,
so,
kids,
we
dogs,
ruined
everything.
The fabric. We ruined, we never had any leather unless it was a hand-me-down, because we're going to ruin the leather, right?
I don't know what's wrong. These kids these days, I don't know.
I don't know if it's these days. When I was a kid, we wrestled on it. We had dogs. I always had dogs.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
It's just, things didn't last in my house.
Yeah.
So I see how that would be a common question.
Yeah, so we get that a lot, and I like to ensure people, especially with Lazy Boy in particular, since they have patented so many really cool, interesting things, is that all of our fabrics are over the industry standard, all tested over the industry standard by Lazy Boy's patented testing facility. They got like a fancy rub machine. It does all this abrasive stuff to the fabrics, and then we even have some that are twice the industry standard. So it's 200,000 rubs on a machine and all that jazz. So you really don't have anything to worry about. However, there are certainly some fabrics that can hold up better than others, and it just depends. Like, for instance, leather, like you were saying, some people love it for pets and stuff like that because you can just wipe it off.
Right.
However,
it's easy to clean.
Some people hate leather for that reason, because their cast could puncture holes in the leather and it doesn't come together like a fabric would. Like, you can't see the puncture in it.
Right. Yeah.
So it just goes both ways, but that's why some fabrics are a lot more popular than others, I guess.
Okay. Well, what causes it to deteriorate?
Like you said, normal wear and tear. Kids wrestling on their sofas, of which no one should ever do.
Unless you think it's really fun, which I did. I thought it was a lot of fun to choke slam my brother into the furniture. That was the most fun part of it, beating up my little brother.
But normal wear and tear. People keep their furniture 10, 15, plus years, and then it gets always handed down to the grandkids and college kids and all of that, where they can further ruin it.
And it's just like the fibers that you'd find in like a t-shirt. You wear it more and more. And
exactly.
It kind of stretches out a little bit. Just
which some people enjoy. Obviously, first time you put a new shirt on, or first time you sit on a new sofa, it's going to be a little bit stiffer, and it's not pilling, and it's not the fibers or the threads aren't coming out, and that kind of a thing. So people like the wearing in of it, but there are certain ways to take care of it better, I would say.
By not choke slamming your brother into the furniture.
But
okay. I'll note that. I'll make sure to stop doing that.
Everything from just normal wear and tear to people who are overly abrasive to it depends. Like if you spill a bunch of stuff on it and you're scrubbing it a lot, it's obviously going to loosen up anything that's going on. So. Yeah.
Now, let's say you have a dog who sleeps on your furniture a lot. Would you say that mine loves to? He's not allowed on it, but he tries to.
Yeah.
Like their fur, would that cause any kind of damage over time?
Well,
just collecting the fur.
Yeah, collecting fur, dust mites, skin cells, all that gross stuff. Gets like
stuff
trapped.
we try not to think about.
Gets there, trapped under there. It's like they tell you to change your mattress all the time because all the stuff.
I think it's like every 7 years.
Something like that. And so the same thing. Things can get stuck in between, especially looser woven fabrics and stuff like that. Like the hairs and everything. I guess especially with more dogs have a little bit thicker hair strands than people do. So they can kind of get stuck under there, pull stuff up, loosen them, all kinds of stuff. So. Yeah, and then their nails, every time you jump on it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They pull up a little bit, so that'll happen, but can't stop the pooches from getting up there.
It's really hard to. I swear.
I gave up.
My dog has to every morning I wake up, he's on the couch. I'm like, no, you're not supposed to be on the couch.
Mm-hmm. And I have a leather sofa and a fabric chair, and she likes both. So I'm going to test out the durability of two different types of things.
So we'll come back in 10 years and check with you.
Yeah.
We'll see where you are in 10 years with your fabric and leather sofa. So as we move on to different types of fabric.
Okay.
So the first one we're going to talk about is the microfiber.
Yes.
Most durable?
Yes.
That's true. Most durable fabric on the market today?
It is, because it's a synthetic fiber, so it's like a polyester and the microfiber and all of that. Since it's a synthetic, it doesn't wear as well. Wear as much as, say, like leather, because it is, was alive at one point. So when you make them, it's true.
It's another thing we don't like to think about, is that our leather was alive at one point.
Well, it's like a wool rug, okay? So that was shaved off of a sheep.
Yeah, but
so obviously it's not gonna, things are gonna happen to it more so. Whereas the synthetic fiber and our polypropylene rugs, they don't shed and stuff like that. Same type of deal.
They're made in a lab.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same type of deal.
Yeah.
Not all labs are bad. But yes, so they're better. We actually get a ton of people coming in that I think have obviously done a bunch of research. I see people nowadays are doing way more research on fabrics.
To podcasts like this, so they can do their research, then go into stores and talk to you.
Yeah. Because they're like, I've heard that, we get tons of people, especially with cats. They're like, I have to have microfiber, because I have a cat. I'm like, okay. Because what it does, since the microfiber is so tightly woven, to where you can't separate, it's not visibly separated by the eye. You won't be able to tell.
Yeah.
And it just looks like a straight coating. If you flip the fabric over, you can see that the back of it has an extra couple layers. So that way, say a kitty does stick her nails in there, and you can't pick it. Because because that's what happens when you get picks and stuff. It's because either your buckle or an animal or your nail or something like that goes into where they're crossed and picks up one of the threads.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And you can't really do that on a microfiber. So that's why they've been super popular. Also, since they are a synthetic material, they're easier to clean. So you can kind of just...
That is a big thing about microfibers.
Yeah. You can just wipe them off.
Yep.
And so...
Spill some dip on it and just take the chip and just keep scooping.
Oh, God. Oh, God. It's my worst nightmare.
Yeah. So because it's so tightly woven, it's good to hold up against, any dirt, stray pet hair,
Yeah.
pet fur, just really any liquid. So microfiber is considered very durable
Yes.
in more ways than one.
And the good thing is a lot of people, microfiber used to be very limited. So
Yeah.
everybody used to think that, oh, you had to get like velvet or, suede or all those things. But they've gone, now that the industries have seen that microfiber is so popular and it is a lot more durable, so more people are leaning towards it, they've come out with tons of new versions of it, I would say. So they've got everything, all colors across you can imagine. And then they've also got ones that, look like they could be like leather, or they've got some that have different textures to them, but they're still that microfiber. So you get the luxury of being able to safely care for it, but you also have way more variation. So, I hate when people come in here and they're like, oh, I have to have the microfiber. I'm like, that's okay, because we have so many options now. You're not having to choose something just because you have to.
Right.
So,
Well,
nice.
let's move on to our next one, which is going to be canvas furniture.
Okay.
Which is mostly outdoor stuff, right? You'd find it mostly outdoor?
Yeah.
Do we have any, is it expanded more to an indoor type stuff now too? Or do we still mostly find it outside?
It's mostly outside just because it's a little bit rougher. And so
I would assume canvas is
Yeah.
not as comfortable to sit on as microfiber,
No,
right?
It's not. But some people, they always say beauty is pain, right? Some people like the look of it.
I've never heard that.
Some people like the look of it, so that they'll suffer to have the look. But it's not. I wouldn't say suffer.
I'm all about comfort, in case you've
Canvas
seen our other videos.
Canvas wears in the same as other fibers would. So, but they use it outside because it can withstand a lot more trauma.
Like weather, like rain and
Snow,
and sleet.
Most outdoor furniture is made of canvas. It's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier to coat, and it's easier. For damage, like the weather damage and all of that. Like if you think about it, like canvas has been used forever.
Yeah.
Like literally since the dawn of time for paintings and that kind of a thing.
Of course.
And you see those paintings are still around today. So it goes to show that it definitely is definitely a material that will last lifetimes. So
it is durable, just not as comfortable.
yes.
Okay. So is there any specific pieces like here, like that you can name off the top of your head that is canvas fabric, or can you get any lazy boy in canvas? Like, is there any choices?
It's not necessarily canvas.
Yeah.
So, because it kind of gets misinterpreted sometimes. So there's different. For instance, one of our sofas that we have, the Duo, the Bennett,
Duo. Okay.
it looks like a canvas. It's basically the reason what they think of canvas is they're thick threads. They're very thick threads, which means they can't be woven as tight. So therefore, they do loosen up a lot easier than other fabrics do. But we do offer them, and like I said, ours are tested, so they're not your typical canvas, or we call they're like canvas lookalikes. So it looks more like, I guess, like a linen-y kind of look, but with thicker threads.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
But could you get that on like any upholstery, or are there just certain types of chairs that we have like that, or certain type of furniture?
Most of our fabrics can go on anything.
Okay.
As long as it's plain. Sometimes patterns.
So if that's just a look you want, like say you want to get a furniture and put it in a garage, because obviously like garage, man cave, like it's
What?
gonna man cave.
In a garage?
Yeah, absolutely.
What?
When you have,
banishes you to the garage.
sometimes you don't have a choice. Now the other thing is, you could have, let's say it's a starter home and you have 2 rooms, right?
Yeah.
And then you got a garage that you don't put your cars in. It's just something where you store, boxes.
Okay.
You want to turn that into, put a nice little rug down, a
Okay.
TV, just like a little.
Hope it's
man
insulated.
cave. Well, it's insulated, but probably not air conditioned, right?
Yeah, okay.
So I've seen it happen. It's been done,
Okay.
right? So that's obviously going to take more damage and
Yes.
not be as safe as having it in an air-conditioned room in your house.
Correct.
So I forgot what my question was.
Can that damage?
I forgot what my question was. You distracted me enough to where I have no idea what I was asking.
Obviously, if your furniture is not in a temperature-controlled climate, it is going to deteriorate faster. So if you ever notice, if you put a chair you haven't been using in the attic or in the garage, you notice that it does not look the same.
Right.
You pull it out and you're like, oh no, what happened?
So maybe that's the reference I should have used. It's just a chair you're not using. You put it in the attic or the garage instead of making a man cave and just confusing you. So let's keep moving. Let's go on to cotton and linen furniture. So
very popular.
Very popular, right? It's what you would assume everything's made out of. Most of the clothing is made out of these two. So let's talk a little bit about that. So tell me what you know about cotton and linen.
Cotton and linen are natural fibers.
Right, yeah.
So
which usually makes them, more affordable too.
Yes. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
That's actually not always true.
Okay. Well, I know in clothing it's more affordable than like a synthetic polyester. I just know that.
Yeah. Because,
so maybe that's not the case for furniture then.
Well, as our world is expanding, you can't, the crops, the cotton crops, whereas you can make things in a lab.
Now, we're not going to talk about, climate change.
I'm just saying.
Climate change
no, but
here.
most people, really, everybody, linen is, that linen look is very popular.
Yeah, why is that?
I think people like to see the threads. I think people enjoy seeing a slight variation, a slight pattern, instead of just something that's just very flat. A lot of microfibers can look very flat. So
that's why I'm not a fan of microfiber.
Yeah.
I think I'm not a fan of the look of it, essentially. Yeah. I'm not gonna say it's ugly. It's just not for me.
Yeah, and it's not for me either. I personally prefer leather.
Yes, I'm a big leather fan as well.
So, but I grew up. We had grew up with like a linen kind of sofa, but they're great. They do wear down a lot faster.
What's that? Cotton
and linen.
Yeah.
Because they can pick.
They can snag on something.
They can snag. Yeah. Linen can snag. You put on see it's like pair of linen pants. You sit down for 5 seconds, you get up and it's like crunched up and wrinkled. You're your pants. You're like, I just ironed these.
So what you're saying is, don't wear a pair of linen pants to a professional work setting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I don't know if I have linen pants.
Yeah, you should get a linen suit. They make those.
I know they make them. They were big in the 70s.
They look nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they look nice, but it's I wouldn't recommend them necessarily for a place where you're going to be wrestling. So
don't wear them while I'm my brother onto a couch.
Well, the sofa is what I'm saying, because they do have a tendency to sometimes pick, pill, that kind of thing. I mean, it's like I said, it's a natural fiber.
Yeah.
Things happen over time.
But it's probably one of the most common.
It is one of the most common because it is the softest.
Yeah.
It is the most comfortable to sit on. It wears in easily. My mom loves to sleep on the sofa. I know a lot of people love to sleep on the sofa.
I'm a big fan of sleeping on the sofa. I'll fall asleep and watching a movie, and then 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I got to go to a real bed.
But that's the thing. And so people like the cotton and linen because it is something you can fall asleep on and be comfortable and not, have an abrasive touch to it.
And it's more breathable, in my opinion.
It is.
So it's like, microfiber, I'm not a big fan because, I'll get hot halfway through my nap, right? It gets really hot.
You're smart.
I know I'm smart.
Because the tight fibers, it does make it hotter.
Yeah, I know a thing or two. I've done this long enough. I know a thing or two. This is maybe my second podcast.
Yeah.
But,
I've been with the Lazy Boy for a little bit.
I've been with the Lazy Boy for a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I am hosting a podcast called Furniture Academy.
It's true.
I do have to know a thing or two about it.
It's true.
But yeah, that's another reason why I'm not a big fan of microfiber. I like to take naps in my furniture. That's why I like leather, and if I'm going to choose fabric, it's going to be cotton.
Yeah,
right?
and people do say that. I actually do hear that a lot too. They're like, I don't want a fabric that's going to make me hot.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
I've heard more things that I've heard that from working here that I would have never
even thought
been asked about fibers before in my whole life, and then I'm like,
and you went to school for this.
I know, and I'm like, that's so interesting. Yeah. I'm like, I've never heard someone say, I want a fabric that's not going to make me hot. I'm like, okay, but it's fun. It does make sense when you think about it.
Who wants to be hot while they're taking a nap?
Plus, a lot of people, especially in this area, there's a lot of homes up on the lake and all that stuff, and people like that kind of linen cotton look because it kind of goes like beachy or lakey kind of look. So, but since it is a lot looser woven, things can get into it a lot easier and deteriorate faster. So, but it all has to do with how you take care of your furniture.
Right.
So
if you were to give some advice for someone who's not sure what type of fibers they want and what type of fabric they want, well, what would be the first step into, trying to figure out, maybe this is right for me, this is not right
This actually happened, I worked with a lady 2 days ago. She came in and she was looking at our Addison sofa. And
I like the Addison.
She liked it because it doesn't, look like your typical recliner, but her husband really wants a recliner.
Right.
Which we hear
all the time.
Constantly.
All the time.
And
she
was like, I really like this, but I'm not sure. And I was like, okay, so what is your, why are you holding back on this fabric? So the first thing I always ask is, do you have kids? Do you have great kids? Do you have pets? And she was like, oh yeah, I've got like 2 labs. They shed a lot. I've got 6 grandkids. I'm like, okay, so that's why you're worried about the fabric. Like you have to get a little bit more into it. And then I'm like, so if you had issues with, because she was wondering, she asked me if the fabric that was on it would pick.
Yeah.
And we hear that a lot. And I said, why because do you have pets? And she was like, yes. And the sofa I have now is picked because my dogs jump on it and then they pick it. And I'm like, okay, so we're getting somewhere. So then from there, I'm like, okay, so I would recommend, some of either our performance fabrics, which are easy to find because they got the little P on them.
Okay. You mean on like the tags?
On the
when you're in the store.
In the
on the
store,
tag,
on the fabric swatches. It's not on, you go out to every store, it has that. Like on your clothes, a little P on it. It would be nice though, if your clothes are more durable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that, as well as, you can tell people, and I've seen people do it on their own, which is kind of fun too. They lift the fabric up to the light and to see you can see through the fibers, or it's a good way to see if it's how tightly woven it is. Also, a lot of people don't notice, but if you flip it over, and the back of your fabric can actually tell you a whole lot more about the fabric than you would think, because when you weave...
You're talking about when you're looking at like a fabric sample.
A fabric sample,
gotcha.
Yes, the back of it.
Not the actual couch. You can't flip that over and look at the bottom.
Well, yeah, true.
Okay, just need to clarify.
But because when you're weaving fabrics, you actually do it, most of the time you do it backwards.
Yeah.
So what they're weaving really is the back side of it. And so the back is what, obviously it's not the part that touches you, but it's the part that holds all those top strands together. So the more, because you'll see some of them are double backed, and which means that they have another layer of a different fabric behind the top one. So that way it makes it more durable. Even though the top one may be thin, since they put that backing on it, it makes it stronger. So I just like to help people with those little tips and tricks. But
that's why you're on this podcast. So people who are looking for fabrics, they can listen and be like, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah. So if it's something you're worried about picking, it's a good idea. You can lift it up to the light, see if if you can see straight through it, the little threads, you'll be like, okay, well, now I know my kitty cat could pick that up, or and you can, or the abrasiveness you can feel on your own. And then a lot of the times fabrics will say what it's made out of, so you'll know. All of our fabrics are, I would say 80-85% of our fabrics are 100% polyester.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
that's a lot.
Yes.
All right.
Which is really good.
Yeah, polyester is very soft. I'm a big fan of polyester.
It is very soft.
Yeah.
Most things are made out of that now.
Yeah.
Just because it's durable, it's easy to clean, and it's comfortable. Yeah. Which, who could want any more?
Right. Well, I think that's everything that we need to know about fabrics, right? Unless you got any other tips or anything.
Just to make sure whenever you're cleaning anything, whether any type of fiber, you don't ever want to scrub anything, because all that's going to do,
just dig it in.
Well, that for staining, yes.
Yeah.
But for the threads. I mean, the more you scrub it, it's going to go back and forth and break the threads apart, because no matter what happens, things deteriorate over time. It just happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to decrease as much of that as possible. So just try and circular motions are always better. Always better. I always tell people that. I see them going out, I'm like, stop. Don't stop it, because then you'll get like a hole, and you don't want that.
Well, it sounds like we're gonna have to do a whole episode on how to clean fibers too.
Oh boy.
And bring you back.
Oh boy.
So you can teach everyone, the do's and don'ts of cleaning furniture. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know how to clean furniture. So like I said, just take the chip and just scoop.
Oh Lord.
Right.
That's why my friends like me doing that, coming over and stuff. They're like, oh, how do I do this? I'm like, oh man, I feel like I'm a amazing teacher. I'm like, you're using me, but it's fine. But yeah, so there's definitely a lot of options out there. So just based on your needs, and if you have any other, things that you're unsure about, I'm more than happy to come help you out. Or if you just have any questions, I'd love to share my knowledge to other people, and that way you can share it with more people, and everybody will have beautiful furniture forever.
There you go. And in case anyone is wondering, you can check the links in our description where you can find a link to sign up to talk to Catherine. She'll come out to your home and tell you what kind of furniture you need to make the house look however you want. Mm-hmm. And you're always welcome in any one of the stores. You have 8 stores in the Southeast, right? We do. North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. She is in the North Carolina, the most north of the North Carolina stores.
Oh, yeah, no.
What do you mean no?
Asheville.
Is Asheville more north than Charlotte?
Yes.
I don't know geography. So
yeah, it's in the mountains.
It doesn't mean it's more north.
Okay.
It just means it's higher elevation.
Higher elevation.
That's not what I was talking about.
But the Charlotte store. It's a great store. Come visit. We got lots of great people that can help you out.
There you go. So if you like what you've heard and you want to see more, you can always hit the subscribe button located down below. And you can always find this podcast on Spotify and iTunes. And I think that's all we have. Thank you for joining us, Catherine.
Thank you, Sean.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.